Location, location, location. Selecting a new location for a manufacturing plant, a warehouse, a department store, or a new hotel or cafe is an important strategic decision with long-term implications. This decision has a major overall impact on the profit of a company. Location can make or break a business strategy. For Hard Rock Cafe International, location decisions begin with a global view. In what countries should they place their next hotel or restaurant? Oliver Monday, Hard Rock's Senior Director for Cafe Development, has 20 years' experience in finding the best spots. First, he has to choose the right country.
When we're looking around the globe at new markets, we're looking at countries and we're looking at cities and we're looking at regions. In the US, we've had a fairly complete development program, so we're casting our net somewhat further afield. We're looking heavily in Europe and in Latin America and in some parts of Asia. Now, in all of these markets, you're dealing with a host of different considerations. So we really have to, going in, look at everything. We've got to look at political risk. We've got to look at currency risk. We've got to look at social norms, considerations of how our brand is going to fit within the context of that country, that region. We have to look at social costs. We have to look at ways of doing business. All of these things have to be studied, analyzed. The information has to be reviewed very closely, and then hopefully we come up with an intelligent decision at the end of the day.
Once a country is selected, then Oliver focuses on a region and a city. He has a large number of additional factors to evaluate.
We've really got a dual approach at the moment. When we're looking at a market, once we feel comfortable that it has the right blend of characteristics for us, and by that I mean demographically, it has a population that's big enough to support a Hard Rock Cafe, that the disposable income in that particular region is adequate for us, that it gets a healthy volume of visitors, both from a business perspective and also tourism. As long as it has that combination of factors, then we feel comfortable going to that market and studying where we should be. Then, of course, we've got to decide where we're going to go. Are we going to go to a new development? Are we going to go to the middle of the city? Are we going to be in a more suburban location? Our tendency is very much to focus on the city centre, where most of the nightlife is, where most of the activity is, where it's concentrated. And so in Europe at the moment we're looking at a number of locations there. Last year we signed a deal in Russia to do a Hard Rock in Moscow, right in the middle of the city. It took a long time to put together, but that deal is going to be a franchise for the simple reason that we would not dream of operating ourselves in that kind of environment by ourselves. We obviously need to have a local partner. It's a city where connections speak louder than words, and so we need to have a local partner. So franchise is the right way to go in those set of circumstances. We're looking in Portugal at the moment, in Lisbon, and we've looked in Lisbon for a long time. And we're back there again. We think we have a deal, but things take time in that country, and as I said, we've been there before. And we came close several years ago and didn't make it. So some of these markets you have to keep trying. I know it's a great market to be in. It's a beautiful city. It wants to have a Hard Rock, very definitely. That's been made clear to us in no uncertain terms. But finding the right piece of real estate and the right deal to get us in there does take time sometimes.
Oliver's selection of a site within a city is not a quick decision.
When I'm looking at a city, it's common for me, if I'm not that familiar with it, to probably go there by myself, first visit, not talk to anybody, not arrange to be shown around, but just to go there myself to let me get a better feel for what I think the city's like. And I find there's nothing better than hitting the pavement and walking up and down and spending a couple of days understanding what goes on in that city and just getting a feel for it in general. I like to think that now I've developed the ability to be able to feel which parts of a city we should be in. And obviously you look at where other restaurants, bars and nightclubs are located, and you look a little bit at how the city has developed over the years. We're making long-term decisions. We're not making a decision that is going to be irrelevant in a 24 or 36 month period. We're signing a 10 or 15 year lease, or sometimes longer. Because of that, we also have to anticipate what's happening, and what today may be the best location in a particular city in 10 years' time may not be. And so it's very difficult, but you do have to try and think ahead and try and understand where that city is going. And all cities move over time, as we all know. There's been a tremendous resurgence in city centres, both in North America and in Europe over the last 10 years. And cities are coming back, and they're coming back very strongly, and people are moving back downtown, and the pendulum is swinging away from the suburban lifestyle. And if people can feel safe and the schools are good, then they'll live downtown, because quite frankly it's more fun. Within that context, we're looking at where we should be in those cities, and are we going to be relevant there in 5 and 10 years' time?
Once a site is selected, Oliver conducts a break-even analysis on the location. This requires evaluating either 1. Purchase and construction on a new site, or 2. Remodeling an existing site. Identifying both the fixed and variable costs, Oliver determines if Hard Rock's required break-even point is achievable. When a site is deemed worthy, Hard Rock negotiates to secure the site and then begins construction. The whole process comes to a close when grand opening day arrives and celebrations begin. But Oliver can't stick around. He's off to scout yet another perfect location for the next grand opening.
I guess, in a rather long-winded way, the best thing I could come up with was I heard it on the grapevine, because that's basically what I'm doing.
I performed at the Royal Albert Hall for Hard Rock's Pinktober, and I donated a sparkly red dress. I wore that dress especially for that performance, and I loved the performance, and yeah, I feel really honoured to, you know, have donated something that Hard Rock wanted from me, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of particularly music fashion. I think it's very important, and I think it sets a lot of trends. 3 words to describe Hard Rock Couture. I'd have to say iconic, memorable, and amazing. The must-see exhibition, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Michaela Carrara. I'm a fashion designer, and this is my rock and roll inspired collection.
greatest pioneers in fashion and in rock and roll music. Rolling Stones for sure, great Beatles and Rolling Stones, and I'll say a bit of Freddie Mercury as well. Really good.
Everybody should come and see Hard Rock Couture because I'm a fan of music and this is a real close-up experience of rock and pop legends. You know, it's very exciting.